Hello everyone, my name is Marian. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new to this video and to my page, my name is Marian. I work in the field of radiology. I've been practicing in this field for about 10 years or a little bit longer. So on my page, if you decide to subscribe, you are going to see a lot of videos about how to prepare to pass your board exam, whether it's for X-ray, CT, MRI. I have different playlists for you to check out. If you are interested in learning how to start IVs, I also have playlists about that. Sometime or occasionally, I do motivational videos where I just come on, I speak, I tell you about my day, tell you about what I did at work. You may even see in the videos about what I'm doing at work. But for this video, I am going to tell you about when I worked at a prison. A lot of people I work with, they do not think or believe that I would have ever worked at a prison. So, my first x-ray job that I got whenever I was out of school, it was at a prison. I lived in a small area. We call it a town in that area. So I lived in a small town or a county, parish, whatever you want to call it. And there wasn't a lot of x-ray jobs available. So believe it or not, when I finished x-ray school, it took me 8 months to get a job. Thankfully, I still had my CNA job. I worked as a CNA or certified nursing assistant for about 4 years as I was studying through my x-ray school. So yes, that area, it was pretty competitive. It took 8 months for me to get my first x-ray job. So, because I like to stay organized, I don't like to ramble too much. I have my notes on my phone to tell you about my experience at the prison. And this is just so I don't forget anything. I may or I may not forget anything. But if you have any questions, you can put in the comment section underneath this video. Okay, here we go. Let me tell you about the prison life. So, my job title when I was working at the prison was an X-ray tech or radiologic technologist. The shift I worked, it was deep nights. I worked from 11 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. I worked Monday through Friday, 8-hour shifts. And also, we also had nurses that worked with us as well. So some of them may work 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. They had their own shift. They may have worked 312s. Because I was an x-ray tech, I was there just to take x-rays. And the clinic or my part was closed on the weekend. So myself and the other x-ray tech, we did not have to work weekends. We did not have to work holidays. When I first started working at this prison, they had about two in my area. They had one prison I started training at. It was a men and women prison. I went there probably for a month just to train with the other x-ray tech, just to see kind of like the workflow, what to expect, what I would be doing. So I did that for about a month, and then I transferred to a prison that was closer to my house where it was just an all male prison. Okay, so when I enter the prison, you have to be screened. So I had to go through a metal detector. They also had to check my bag. I had to have a clear bag. So anyone who came into prison, whether you was a guard, a nurse, x-ray tech, whatever your job duty was, even a manager, you had to have a clear bag. That's just to make sure you do not bring any contraband in to the prisoners that's inside. So they always check your bag as you're going in. And even if you go out for just a quick second, like a break, they're going to check your bag again when you come in. So after they check my bag or our bags, we wait to get buzzed in to another door. And then you wait again, then you buzz in again. So this also depends on how the prison is set up and how many locked doors they have. But you can't just walk through the prison. They have different doors that is locked and they buzz you in and they can see who is trying to get in the door. So when I worked there, it was only one way in, one way out. My job duties at a prison, it was just to perform chest x-rays, This was just for a TB screening for tuberculosis. Whenever the prisoners came in or if they was getting released, we just screened for tuberculosis at this prison. So if I wasn't doing any x-rays, I had to help the nurses out with like vital signs such as blood pressure, pulse, height and weight, help them do paperwork, probably even shred paperwork. I worked the night shift, so my shift really wasn't as busy. So prison food, did I ever eat prison food or did I eat the food from the prison? No, I don't know what kind of food they were serving, to be honest with you. And I always brought my own lunch. Since I worked deep nights, I really didn't have to eat anyway because I had already eaten the day before and I didn't want to eat a big meal late at night. So I would just bring different snacks like yogurt, if I got hungry, maybe a sandwich or whatever. I probably was eating cereal because I was taking my lunch breaks probably at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, or maybe just chips or something. But I didn't really get too hungry in the middle of the night, so I probably just had yogurt or fruit. So going inside the prison cells, was I nervous? How did I feel? So occasionally, or I wouldn't say a lot, but occasionally we did have to go inside the cell if we forgot anyone or if someone wasn't out whenever it was time to check vital signs. We did have to circle back, go to the cells, but it wasn't scary or anything. You had the guard there, you had the prisoner there, and we just took the vital signs honestly. So whenever I was performing x-rays, the guard had to stand outside of the door or outside of the room because of the radiation, the scatter radiation that you get from x-rays. Or if you don't know, if you're not getting an x-ray, you can't just be in the room. So you have to stand on the outside. So the guard stood on the outside and the inmate or prisoner, they was not in any type of handcuffs or shackles. They was just pretty much free, kind of like how I'm moving my hands. They didn't have anything holding them back, holding them behind their hands. I just took the x-ray and they went back to their cell or wherever they had to go. So, how did I find a job at a prison? So, since I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, long story short, when I graduated out of X-ray school, it was tough to find a job. In the area I lived in, it was very competitive. It was very hard to find an X-ray job. So one day I heard that a prison was being built and I said, let me try checking it out. So that's what I did. I applied. It took a while to get hired because you had to go through a lot of background checks and verification. So I think that also took a little bit, but for the most part, it took 8 months for me to get my first x ray job. If you live in a big area or a big city, do not let this discourage you. I know nowadays there are a lot of x-ray tech jobs available, but this is whenever I went to or through x-ray school years ago. It probably was at least 10 years ago because I graduated from x-ray school in 2014 and now it's 2024. Were lunch breaks allowed? Yes, we were able to have a lunch break. Depending on what shift you work, I don't think you could just freely go on lunch. If you did go out on lunch, they would check your bag or check your pockets or whatever as soon as you would come back in. So yes, a lunch break was allowed if you did go out to get lunch or just to sit in your car because a lot of time depending on if you are a smoker or not, you may want a smoke break. So you could go outside, but they had to check you again once you came back in. Since I work nights for my lunch, I ate yogurt, fruit. I probably had a sandwich here and there, maybe even some cereal because my lunch breaks was at 2, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. And I got off at 7:30 in the morning. So I always get asked, was it hard working overnight? So I've never worked an overnight shift before I had that job. I've always worked either days or when I was in x-ray school, I probably worked the evening shift as a CNA. But for the most part, I've always tried to work day shift. So it wasn't as hard because you have to mentally train your mind that you are about to readjust your life. So the way I did things, I kind of had to reverse my schedule. So whenever I got off of work at 7:30 in the morning, I stayed up. I stayed up until maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So what I ran errands, I cooked, I worked out, I had doctor's appointments that I went to if I needed to. So whenever I got off of work, that was considered my evening. 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. was my evening shift. From 2 p.m. to about 9:30 at night was considered my night shift. That was considered the time I slept. So when I came to work at 11 o'clock p.m., that was considered my day shift. So I had to kind of swap everything. Even when I was off, I was still up at night. Never went to sleep throughout the night. So sometimes I find myself calling or texting someone who probably is normally asleep. So, did I ever sleep on a job? And the answer is no. And short story, the reason why is because I didn't want to get caught. So, how did I train my body to work an overnight shift? I think I just told you, but pretty much I just swapped my schedule. I swapped my evening, days, and nights, and just rearranged it. Let's see. Did I like working at a prison? I enjoyed it. It was a great experience, even though I only was responsible for taking chest x-rays and vital signs when needed. It was a good experience for me, and I learned a lot. I learned how to appreciate life. I learned how to not take things personally. So it was a good experience for me because before that, I was a CNA for about 4 years or five, and then I worked at a grocery store as a cashier. All right, I'm almost done. So, what landed me at the prison was it was tough for me to get an x-ray job. I probably interviewed at about 15, maybe even 20 places between the 8 month time frame. I was putting out a lot of applications. Some applications I was putting out, I received a call back, some I didn't. I was interviewing in town, out of town, an hour away, almost 2 hours away. And being so, I was a new graduate, it was tough getting a job, especially in the state that I lived in or came from. It was very tough. But now, don't let it discourage you. That was pretty much 10 years ago. It is easy, or it should be much easier to get an x ray job now. So, in case you're wondering, if my prison job was so good, why did I leave? So, number one, I lived in a state where I was born and raised, and I was just ready to leave. I was just ready to move. And number two, I wanted more opportunities. The job duties I was doing, it limited me a lot. I was very limited on what I could do. Being an x-ray tech is just more than taking chest x-rays. You have your head, your hand, your wrist, your knee, your feet, your stomach, your chest. You have your arm. So it's more than just taking chest x-rays. You have your spine, your neck. So what I did, I looked for a job in a bigger state where I knew it was going to be more opportunities, even more concerts, more things to do, and I moved there. Unfortunately, the transfer, it was smooth, but if I wanted to keep my prison job and move to the new area I lived in, I couldn't. Well, they didn't have that prison at the in the city that I moved to. They did have it 4 hours away, but I didn't want to live in that area. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm to the end of my notes on my phone now. But if you have any comments, if I haven't touched on this, if you have any comments or want to just say or ask me more about working in a prison, you can feel free to let me know if I didn't touch on it. Okay, and the last thing I want to share. So, since I worked in a prison for 2.5 years. It was anywhere from 2 to 2.5 years. So since I did work in a prison for so long, that's Monday through Friday, 8-hour shifts, going in, coming out. So I don't like taking my lunch breaks inside of a job now. Whenever I take my lunch breaks, I do not eat in a break room, and it's nothing personal against anyone. It's just because I have been so confined for a couple of years where when I went in, I could probably go out, or if I did go out, I'm gonna spend 15 minutes of my lunch break badging in and badging out through those doors because all the doors are locked. You can't just go in and go out because they're gonna think you're trying to bring something to maybe a prisoner or who is coming in, should they be here. So they're checking you, they're verifying your bags, they're making sure you didn't bring anything in there that wasn't or shouldn't supposed to be in there. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get in and get out and then get back in on time and also enjoy your lunch. So, a lot of times at my jobs now, whenever I work, I go outside and I eat and I enjoy the sunlight. I enjoy just being to myself, kicking my feet up, looking at my phone. But other than that, it was a great experience. I was just very limited, working there. But if you have any questions about what else I did, if I didn't answer it in this video, feel free to comment. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.